Hi guys, Lindsay here. So I wanted to give you a bit of an update and just show you guys around while it's not raining. So the next bunch of days the weather's just really terrible, and I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about what we've been doing, just because a lot of things have been shifting, a lot of things have been changing since I've had help. But so I wanted to show you guys where we moved Wilbur and Ferdy at. So originally on this property, they were in that hut there. We had a fenced in area for them, and then it was too wet down there. So we moved them last year up on the hillside there, but then Wilbur figured out that he was able to jump the fence and all this stuff when he became in the full rut. So then they got moved to up here. I actually just got done putting a sidewall there onto their hut, so then that way there's not as much wind that can come in for the wintertime. So they have this whole front side area here, which is not that great of a place for them because it is kind of like right behind the house. So it is kind of annoying having Mr. Stinky Wilbur actually so close to the house and to the garden. So I don't know if they're going to stay here, but this is definitely where they're staying for wintertime. So the sidewall that I just made, it just looks like the rest of it, with just the rough sawn lumber. So we also worked on, well, I'll go back towards the barn since it is actively getting dark out. It'll be darkest back here first. So the other thing that we did is we got the goats expanded up into the woods. So they are actively up there now. You can see Dandy up there. Everything looks like a bomb went off here, just because it's been mid-projects, squeezing stuff in between the rain and the cold weather and all that stuff. So it's just like, toss it over here, toss it over there, it'll be fine. It's just been pretty much the name of the game. So excuse the mess. It's a obvious work in progress. But so the goats, I'll show you guys. It is so freaking muddy. It spent pretty much the entire day today being really cold and wet and rainy and just dreary and yucky. Tomorrow it's supposed to be, I think the high is only like right above freezing, so it's going to be pretty chilly. But so the goats have this whole area up on the hill here, and it goes pretty far back. It definitely doubled their existing pasture space, so they've been making quite a bit of work with making the leaves disappear, and it has saved our hay bill, like saved us in hay tremendously. So before doing this expansion, we were using about a bale of hay a day, just because there's literally nothing in their pasture for them to eat. Hello, Dandy. Hello, buddy. Hi. I know it's almost time for bed. I know. But so they were eating about a bale of hay a day, and now they're eating, I would guess, probably about a half a bale. So it greatly impacted the feed bill. Obviously, once they eat all that stuff down, since we're going in the wintertime, it's not going to, continue to, we'll spike back up to doing a bale of hay a day, but it's been really nice to have this break from the crazy hay bill for a little while. Hopefully in the summertime that'll green up a bunch. I did, before I put them up there, I did do a fall sowing of a whole bunch of different grass seed, and I did it pretty thick, so that way hopefully the leaves and stuff and the goats walking around will smush the seeds down. I read about that you can sow grass seed in the fall, and that it's actually a preferable time to do it. I've never done it, so I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if the chickens will just eat all the seed. I don't really know. But so hopefully some grass will grow. We do have plans in the springtime to have an arborist come out. The same guy that actually cut down the two big, huge black walnuts in the front. We're going to have him come out and probably take out this tree right here that's behind me, and then a couple of these bigger trees that are in this area here, just because the sun in the early morning comes from the field. So then that would give it, so then the goats' pasture space up here will get significantly more sunlight in the morning, making it so it'd be more hospitable for grasses and weeds and different things like that to grow, so that way the goats can have a continuously benefiting diet. My words are not easy today. I'm kind of fighting off a bit of like a head chest cold thing. I've been dealing with it for like a month or so now, and it just keeps lingering. But so anyways, we took the fence down in the old area that was for Wilbur and Ferdinand. It also was the old duck and goose pasture space. And then at one point I changed it. I made a chute that connected the goats area back there to this pasture space here, so that way they could eat some of the weeds and stuff down. And yeah, it's flexed as many times as it's going to flex in this space. Honestly, it is just way too wet. Like, you guys can see the ducks here are playing in puddles, drinking water, and it's just all because of all the springs from the hill and all that stuff. It's just way too wet of a spot. So we're actually contemplating putting a pond over in here. you know, just because the water already is coming here, it already flows here, it already is abundantly here, and then it would be a really nice convenient spot to be close to the barn and close to the duck and goose hut, which also I added an awning there, so then that way rainwater stopped going into the fenced off roof line there, so that way wind can come in still, ventilation can come in still, but rainwater stops coming in. A whole bunch of projects have been done, like just so many little things that it's just been like, oh, hurry up and do this, oh, we can hurry up and do this, and we can hurry up and do this, and it's been kind of exhausting, honestly. But so yeah, we're talking about potentially digging a pond over in this area here. We have a decent sized pond, one that's going to actually be deep enough that we can put some bluegill in, just so then that way we can, you know, also utilize it to raise a little bit of fish, because we do like to eat fish on occasion. But it's really hard to have time and energy to go fishing for us, just kind of a busy schedule. So that would be something nice for the ducks and the geese. And then also, since that is uphill from where the garden goes, it's going to make it really easy to pump water and to draw water out to the garden space. So since the septic is not taking up as much real estate as it once was thought to take up, it once was thought to take up basically the largest single wide trailer was basically going to be taken up in our entire yard here, because they were going to have to do this huge mound, and it was literally going to be like a 16 by 80, which is the largest single wide they make. So it was going to be a huge piece that we were going to lose, and it was just going to be a nightmare. But so we originally had to move the garden out of this space and move it to the front yard. Well, now we're going to be able to move it back. So what I have actually started doing is outlining where the beds are going to go. So you can see the darker grass there. That's where one of the beds was year before last. And then here was another bed here. So these are going to get outlined like this. And I'm going to potentially move the garden, shift it downhill further. So then that way, believe it or not, the uphill parts of our property that's where the water comes from. That's where all of the springs are at. So like this upper part here where I have a bed lined out there, that's where we planted the tomatoes the first 2 years we were here, the first 2 growing seasons we were here. And we never had to water them because it was just so wet all of the time. You can't get seeds to start in the ground over there because it's just so wet that they fail to germinate. They rot instead of germinate. So even throughout the drought that we had the year before last, which was really bad, not as bad as this year, but still pretty bad, we didn't have to water the tomato plants at all. And we were just battling with slugs and just moisture constantly. However, the beds that were down in here, they were way more dry, and the grasses are different down here as opposed to up there. And up there, it's just always wet. So I don't know if it's because it doesn't get as much sun, or if it's because it's just the way that this property is. I really don't know. It's just something I've observed. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on moving the garden to basically, as you guys can see, there's a bed here, there's a bed here. We're going to let it so that way we can future expand it to keep going this way. This area here is a lot more flatter. It's a lot more level. Even though that's where the septic lines were once at, we're going to transition into building raised beds to start making things easier as we get older, and just to make things more comfortable, because I don't like using the rototiller. I actually like doing kind of like a deep litter method with the barn, and then basically translating that to the garden of just using a lot of mulches and, you know, a lot of like composting the manure and, you know, all that stuff. I gotta show you guys this. The ducks and the geese, they all know it's getting close to time for bed, so they're all starting to form the line to head to bed. It's pretty funny because yesterday was when we took the fence down, and they actually went down the main path all the way to where the gate was at, and then walked in through the gate to go to their hut, when in reality they could have just made like a straight shot. So it was kind of funny that they're just such creatures of habit that they're going to go, you know, the exact same way as they always went. So anyways, I think that's about all that we've really gotten accomplished that I can share with you guys, that like is like time sensitive, going to get dark, you know, starting to rain again thing. But so yeah, I think I'm excited for what this is going to bring for us to be able to essentially try again with the garden here, because last year it was an epic failure putting it in the front yard. That was really bad. As soon as they sprayed the corn across the road, it was like so this is going to be better, I think. So yeah, otherwise I'm going to get going, because otherwise I'm going to start rambling, because I am really tired and I am really stinking burnt out from so much stress. So it's been a struggle lately. So this is all you guys get. Sorry. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.